Welcome to another episode of Bridging the Gap with yours truly, Jack Johnny Angel Hunt, and my partner, Mr. Byron Nash.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This week, we're talking about all things music, like every episode. All things music, all things passionate about music, whether it's records, playing live, artistry, and all the things in between. So, how you been, man? How's things going?
I'm doing good, man. I've been putting things together in my studio down at the house, and I have so far 27 4-inch binders full of stuff from my career started. Right? And when I look at them, I can see how things, when they first started, when I was with the Cordells, and we all posed pictures and everything, and then, of course, later on, of course, it changed, you know, and so I was just thinking of all that and how it was back then and what it's like now. Now, you're going through that now. Yeah. So when you're doing, like, let's say you're going to do an album cover, how would you approach that now?
Well, you know, what's interesting now, I think, for artists is that you have a lot more control over what you look like. You know, I think back in the day, you know, if you get signed by a label or something, you know, they have departments that handled marketing and handled all this kind of stuff. I don't even know if we called it branding back then. And the beauty is you can kind of like develop who you are through your phone and take a photo. Like I did a photo shoot with an actual photographer last week, super high-end lady. These photos look like an album cover. Yeah. And I was thinking, you know, this is what a record label would be paying for. But someone would have said, it needs to look like this. Here's the direction of your thing. I don't know how much power the artist would have had back then. So I'm kind of fortunate that I'm part of this era. I mean, I'm old school, but I'm part of this modern era where you can kind of shape what you want to feel and look like for the public.
Very true.
Yeah.
And when you say that, because I remember our first pictures that we did, we used to find a landmark where we would go to. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like our first promo picture that from our first record was down at the Bell Telephone Building, the 2 flagpoles, and we were hanging off of it, and it's so cornball now. You know what I mean? And that we were so impressed by that, and we had a photographer to followed us around, told us what to do, and I found a lot of those old photos, and some of them were like, you wouldn't want anyone to ever see them now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But I mean, it wouldn't have the same, like back then it wouldn't come across as like corny, you know? Yeah. I remember in the beginning with my first band, my old boss would take photos and we would do the whole shoot in one day. So we're like switching shirts out and doing the whole nine. And that was sort of, I think, when I got the bug for marketing and promotion, I would put out for one show 3 different flyers, completely different poses, completely different outfits, so that I knew that those flyers were only going to get like a percentage of, you know, a small percentage of the show, but I wanted people to know who we were, what we looked like, and get used to seeing that. But again, that was sort of in the era of the record label, and you know, not really knowing, you're an independent artist, so you don't really know, and I feel like that's still really important. You know, your image is your brand, you know, and
sure is.
Who you are as an artist is really important to convey to others. You know, video and photos, all of that's super important, you know.
And that has changed a lot with artists now, because back in our days, we didn't have videos. Yeah. You had, if you were lucky, you had an 8mm camera that you had to film. You had to take the film and get it developed and everything else. You know. But now, you can watch exactly what at the time you can have a photographer with you. And it's your phone. You know what I mean? Yeah. But what you were getting at was when you look at, like Motown era for me was like the era, you know. And when you look at the departments that Motown had, for example, they had an etiquette department.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, they had a clothing, how you wear, how you carry yourself.
How to interview.
What you're going to say on stage. I mean, everything was like laid out for you, and you had to learn it. You know?
They had classes, and they were hard on you for that, you know. Yeah. It's interesting because I'm like, I want an etiquette class. Like, I want someone to like help me like figure those things out, because you don't always know if you're doing it right.
That's right.
You know, but I also found that a lot of those artists broke away from that stuff too. Yeah. You know, do you think that like there was too much of a control thing with like labels and things like that with the artists?
I think so. You know? Or they had stubborn people like me that wouldn't get rid of their yinzers. I still talk like I'm from the north side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, you are who you are, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I've been jamming a lot.
Yes.
I've been listening to a lot of records. I'm always going to be listening to a lot of records.
Absolutely.
I got to share this one with you.
Okay.
My record of the week is Al Di Meola. I was born in the 70s, but for some reason I keep going back to that. And I think a lot of it's the production. Yeah. Because I know that they kind of had to play the music. You know, it wasn't like super edited. Like, you had to know how to play.
Yeah.
And he's one of my favorite guitar players, and he kind of got me into that like Spanish classical, you know, flamenco style. So this is one of his shredder records where it kind of has both on there. And I would totally wear this outfit. I have no shame in my game. If anyone sees this, hit me up if it fits. So I don't know. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm listening to a lot of guitar music because I'm in the studio.
Yes.
What's your music this week?
I picked one today because I go back to the 60s a lot. I mean, my favorite era was right around, I'd say like 64, almost to 70.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And some of the albums I was listening to, in fact, this one right here was on the Gamble label.
Okay.
And we'll talk about this label a little bit later with our guest, because this is kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
But this was the Intruders, and the Intruders had a string of hits in the 60s that it influenced a lot of our sound, because we were looking for that same kind of harmonies, you know what I mean? And it changed my whole outlook on, because if it wasn't the Intruders, it wasn't the Temptations, it wasn't the OJs, it wasn't music to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And so this is a cool label, because this is their greatest hits. And just about every one of these records on here I've played on my radio show. I still listen to them, and it takes you back. And this album's almost 60 years old now. You know what I mean? It's like, but great stuff.
Awesome. Does that open up? Does that fold
No.
Oh, it had me fooled. I was looking for some extra art. Okay. Awesome. So what was it that like gravitated your ear towards that soul music?
It's soul music. I say this a lot on my radio show. People say, "What does soul mean to you?" You know, and it's a feeling when the music hits you ever so deeply that it becomes part of you.
Yeah.
And so when I listen to those old songs, it's part of my growing up. It's part of my life. It's part. So to me, soul is what comes from in here.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't be taught it. Just like the blues, you can't be taught it. You have to experience it. You have to do it. You know what I mean? So that era for me was like a learning process. You know?
Interesting. So why don't you let our people know about our next guest?
Oh, I love it. So we're going to have today one of my best friends in the business and one of my favorite entertainers. And this is one of the cats that we actually built our band around.
Oh, okay.
Because when I heard them for the first time, they knocked me out.
Oh, no.
And it's Blue Eyed Soul. And they were signed by this label we're talking about.
Oh, same label?
Yeah, on Gamble label. And my friend is Mr. Jimmie Ross from the Jaggerz, and we're going to talk to him in just a minute.
I look forward to meeting him.
I can't wait.
Stay tuned.
Jack in the Box.
Hey, Jack in the Box, once again, check this one out. In my day, they had pinball machines. They had, go back. Pinball machines? This is how it started. When I was a kid, we had this game. It's called 5-in-1 Electric. It's kind of cool. You have one little, it shoots the balls, little ball-bearing balls, and you get them in the thing. Counts your score, right? No bing, bang, boom. There's nothing there. You have to make your own noises, right? But this is the way it started out back in the day, and it developed into one of my favorite things, and that was the pinball machine. Nothing but ginchy stuff. Welcome back. I want to introduce you right now to my dear buddy right here. This is Mr. Jimmie Ross from the Jaggerz. Welcome, Jimmy.
And thanks, Jack.
And you got to meet my partner here, Byron Nash.
Welcome to the show,
Byron,
sir.
all right.
It's an honor.
Thank you.
Jimmy and I go back a long way, and like I said earlier, when we were first coming into the business, this is the group that we molded our harmonies after, because they were one of the best harmony groups I ever heard in my life, and some of the greatest singers that come out of Pittsburgh, which is kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
But I'd like to go back to the days when it all started. I know you did your thing up at Geneva on the Lake, and we played the same clubs and this and that, but when you got your very, very, very first record deal, it was with Gamble.
Right.
Tell me a little bit how that happened, man, because that's Philly, and we're Pittsburgh.
Right. Well, Joe Rock was our manager at that time, and he's the one that got us with Gamble up in Philly. So we went up there and we did Baby I Love You was the first single that we had. And then we did Gotta Find My Way Back Home, which was written by Mervyn and Melvin Steels, who wrote Could It Be I'm Falling in Love for the Spinners.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was our second record. and it went on from there. You know, we got away from Gamble, went with another company, and it's history.
It is history, and of course your other record and the other label was a gold record.
That's right.
Which I love to hear. Do you still have your gold record thing?
Oh, I didn't wear it today. No. I thought it might be a little too bright for the lights. I didn't wear it.
But I'd like to go back, Jim. You know, when we talk about the old days and this and that, and things have changed drastically. I mean, from when we broke into the business. But I remember how you guys actually rolled and owned Geneva on the Lake.
Matter of fact, it's funny that you bring that up. We're going back there this year, this summer. We're going back to a place called the Cove, and we played there in 1968.
Wow.
I love
it. See,
man.
I got quiet in here.
I was just on the map.
Because everybody's so young, that's why.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, in 1968, we played the Cove at Geneva, and we are going back there one last time. It'll be this year.
That's great.
Yeah, we had a blast up there. It's right on Lake Erie, and it's a great place.
I remember you talking to me about when you guys first went up to Geneva on the Lake, and there was other bands that were auditioning, and one of those bands happened to be a band that became very famous right after that.
That's right.
And it was the...
We went up there to audition at a place called the Sunken Bar. It was a brand new place. Matter of fact, the floor was still dirt.
Yes.
They had,
yes.
you know, it was. We were auditioning for the summer, and the place was brand new. It wasn't finished yet. And one of the groups that we were up against were the OJs.
Oh.
How about that?
We got the job.
Did you
we
really?
got
You
the
did.
job,
Wow.
and we played there. This was in '66, I believe.
Okay.
We played there the whole summer,
Yeah.
and 6 nights a week, a jam session on Saturday afternoon, a jam session on Sunday afternoon, and then we would play at night again. So,
And we were so envious of these guys too, because he was up there in we didn't get up there until '68 is when we started to, and we played at the end of the strip. See, there was clubs right along, right? And you had the key place, man. You like, but they put us new guys on the outskirts. We were like a half a mile from where everything was happening, so you didn't get a lot of the people unless they were coming afterwards and they were drunk or whatever, you know.
Oh, wow.
that was a great place because every college kid in the surrounding area used to come up there for the summer. You
That's
know,
right.
so it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
And we were talking. I was talking earlier about the label, about how things were different back then. When you guys signed with Gamble, did they do the artwork for you and the picture sessions and all that stuff?
Yeah, they did. And you know, doing your first album, you can't wait for your picture to be on the album cover, right? Well, since we were white artists on a black label, the album came out with a fish on the front of the cover.
So funny.
A big circle with a fish.
Yeah,
And I was so devastated.
Did you know that
I
was
thought
going to
my
happen?
picture should be on there.
Yeah.
Did you know that was going to happen
No,
in advance?
no. We came back to Pittsburgh. They did their thing, you know, because it's Gamble and Huff. You don't say no. Don't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But yeah,
What was the big song off of that record?
it was "Gotta Find My Way Back Home."
Okay.
Was the song off of that
Do
first
you
album.
remember the first time you heard your song on the radio and what that was like?
The first song was "Baby I Love You," and I was in a car with Bill Mayberry, who was one of the.
Yes.
He's the lead singer on that.
Oh, okay.
And we were driving through a little town in Beaver County where we're from, and come on, pull off the road, pull off the road. So we pulled off the road and we listened to the song. We couldn't believe it.
Wow.
I mean, it sounded so great on the thing, you know. And so we went to McDonald's and bought hamburgers.
Spending all the dough, right?
Yeah.
That's great.
You gotta love it, man. And it's you know, when you're asking the question about what was like the first time you heard it on the radio, I gotta ask you a question later on, which we'll hold off, but and it ties right into what you were just saying. So, when you guys were hitting it, right? There was an experience time you were playing some really cool places and that. But what's the one that stands out in your mind that really puts you over the edge that we made it?
Wow. Boy, there was a lot of places, I'll tell you.
One was on TV though.
One was on TV. Oh, you mean that one? Oh, okay.
He's like, what was it? I know.
That was American Bandstand.
American
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Bandstand,
you played
yeah.
with them?
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
Yeah. And that was, I forgot about
I
that.
love it.
There you go. There you
We
go.
were envious again. I mean, here's
Oh, that's something to be envious
I'll
of.
tell you a little story about that. We got on a plane in Pittsburgh. We're flying to Hollywood to do American Bandstand. And at that time, that's when people used to get dinners and things on planes. Now you get some peanuts or something, right? Well, the food service company that put all the food on all the planes at Pittsburgh Airport was called Gladio Foods
that's right.
at that time. So when we got in the air, and they don't do stuff like this anymore, we were in first class, and our manager was with us, and one of the flight attendants got on the speaker and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, on the plane today is
Oh, wow.
our friends from Pittsburgh going to American Bandstand. It's the Jaggerz. They have the #1 record in the country." So our manager said, "Can you close the curtain between us and those people back there?" Oh my God! I thought we were gonna get killed.
Wow.
So they brought out a huge round cake. It was gold icing, and it said "Congratulations, Jaggerz," and,
Oh, wow.
and
That's
everybody
great.
on the plane got a piece of
Hey,
cake.
that's
It
it.
was fantastic.
That's
Fantastic.
the way it used to be and the way it should be.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now you get peanuts, like I said.
Yeah.
That's it.
If you get that.
Yeah.
You know? But what we usually do at this segment, Jimmy, is we do a segment called Something Old, Something New, Something Treasured, and Something True. And it just be quick, short answers. But the first thing I'm going to ask you is, tell me something that's old.
Something that was old was I had a race car,
Oh.
and we had enough points to race at the NHRA
Oh, wow.
in Indianapolis. So we took the car up there to race, and we raced all summer. But that was the big deal.
Yeah.
So that was.
Cool.
I don't have that car anymore,
No.
but that was old.
Tell me something new.
Something new is a brand new song that we're working on in the studio.
Oh, cool.
That was written by Hermie Granati,
Oh.
who's our keyboard player, and Melvin Steels, who wrote "Could It Be I'm Falling in Love" and wrote "Gotta Find My Way
That's
Back
right.
Home."
Yeah.
So we've been working on this song for 2 years at least, and that should be maybe out this summer. Hopefully.
love it.
Hopefully.
All right, tell me something, and this is my favorite question here. Something treasured.
Something treasured. Wow.
Something like
Oh
what'd
man.
you do with your first paycheck or something? you
Well,
know?
funny you should say that. With our first royalty check, we went and bought 7 Lincoln Mark IIIs
Wow.
and one for our manager.
yeah.
And mine was deep purple. We could pick the color we wanted.
Yeah.
So we were on the road, and it was 4th of July, and the place was closed, the dealership, but they opened just for us, and we went there, and they were all lined up in all these different
Wow.
colors, and that's
Movie material.
fantastic. Yeah.
Tell me the label got photos of you guys doing that.
Oh,
Are there photos of that?
that was really nice.
Wow. Last one. Something true.
Something true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Something about you.
Um,
People don't know.
Something true is I started in high school playing tuba.
Oh no!
Yeah, I did.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I played in the
actually
high
was my
school
first
band. I
instrument.
played tuba.
Is
I
that
wanted to
right?
play drums,
Yeah.
and I went to one of those parents' night with my dad, and we walked into the band room, and the band director said, "Let me see your teeth." I showed him my teeth. He said, "You'd make a good tuba player." I wanted to play drums. I'm like
Yeah,
Ringo,
yeah.
man. I wanted to be a Ringo,
Yeah.
you know. But I ended up playing tuba, and I loved it. I loved it. And
I appreciate it. I love it. But I tell you what I really want to do right now, Jimmy, is we're going to do a little pause here, and when
All
we
right.
come back, I want to jam with you, man. Let's just do something
Yeah,
off the
okay.
cuff. What do you think?
all right, sounds like fun.
We'll be
Stay
right
tuned,
back
guys.
with you.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to BYRON'S Bodega. This week I wanted to share with you one of my prized possession guitars. I love guitars, always have. One of my favorite metal bands is Pantera, Dimebag Darrell, used to be Diamond Darrell, one of my favorite guitar players. when he passed away, I ended up scoring this guitar. It's one of my favorite axes. It's a Razorback signature model, which is interesting because I don't normally buy like so-and-so's guitar, but he's one of my guitar heroes and kind of inspired me to play and really dig in and believe in my playing. So I bought this guitar, more of a ode and honor to him, and I thank you for the inspiration to make me want to continue to play guitar. But this is one of my prized possessions, and you got to hear it plugged in. It's pretty amazing.
Okay.
I went to work the other day, but I thought that I'd double back. And that car I saw sitting outside of my house, it looked like a brand new Cadillac. Whoa, I think you cheating on me, baby. I think you're running out on me. Oh, I believe to my soul, baby, you've given me some outside help that I don't think I really need. You can tell the Iceman next time he better leave some ice. And you can tell the postman he better ring more than twice. But when I come home from work in the morning, there better still be some groceries on the shelf. And you better tell the insurance man he better write some insurance on himself. Oh, yeah, I think you're cheating on me, baby. I think you're running out on me. Oh, I think you're cheating on me, baby. I think you're trying to run out on me. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Tell that story, Jimmy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's it, baby. That's it, baby.
That's enough of that story. Oh, I love it. I want to thank Mr. Jimmie Ross from the Jaggerz here for tuning in with us tonight.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thank you, guys.